The alarm bells rang across 1,000 worlds at once. Deep in the void nebula, something ancient had opened its eyes. The apex beast was awake. In the Grand Council chamber that floated in space between three suns, representatives from hundreds of alien species gathered in emergency session. The chamber was enormous, built to hold creatures of every size and shape. Some breathed oxygen, others methane. Some had bodies made of crystal. Others were clouds of organized gas. They all shared one thing now: fear. Ambassador Jiwoo sat in the human section, which was small and tucked into a corner. Humans had only joined the Galactic Confederation 30 years ago. Most species still saw them as primitives who had barely learned to travel between stars. Jiwoo wore his formal ambassador uniform, his face calm even as chaos erupted around him. Next to him sat Captain Hana. She wore the gray uniform of Earth's military, with medals from campaigns that most aliens had never heard of. Her eyes scanned the room constantly, a habit from her combat days. She noticed everything: the way the reptilian Velcros delegates kept touching their weapons, how the crystalline Mithrans pulsed with anxious light, the nervous chittering of the insect-like hive queens. At the center of the chamber, the High Council called for order. A hologram appeared above them, showing footage from the outer colonies. The images made even the bravest warriors flinch. The apex beast moved through space like a living storm. It was massive, 15 stories tall at its smallest, but it could change size at will. Its body shifted between solid matter and pure energy. Sometimes it had tentacles, sometimes claws. Sometimes it was just a mass of destruction that unmade everything it touched. Weapons fire passed through it or fed it, making it stronger. Ships exploded like toys. An elderly Velcro stood to speak. His scales were gray with age and his voice shook. 10,000 years ago, this creature destroyed my ancestors' homeworld. Before that, it wiped out 16 other civilizations. Our best weapons cannot hurt it. Our shields cannot stop it. It feeds on energy itself. A Mithran council member pulsed with light, and her words formed directly in everyone's minds. We have analyzed every historical record. No military force has ever defeated the beast. It emerges, it feeds, it destroys entire systems. Then it returns to the dimensional void. We cannot fight it. Then what do we do? Someone shouted from the crowd. The High Council members looked at each other. Finally, one spoke. In the ancient texts, there is one method that has worked: appeasement. We offer a tribute. You mean a sacrifice? Jiwoo said quietly. His voice was soft, but in the sudden silence everyone heard him. Yes, the council member admitted. We must offer the beast a living being. It will feed and then it will sleep. This will buy us time to evacuate key systems. It is the only way. The chamber erupted in argument. Some species volunteered prisoners or criminals. Others suggested drawing lots. The Hive Queens offered to create a clone specifically for this purpose. But the High Council shook their heads at every suggestion. The sacrifice must mean something, they explained. It must come from the Confederation willingly. It must be a true offering, or the beast will not accept it. Jiwoo felt the shift in the room before he saw it. Hundreds of alien eyes turned toward the human section. Of course, humanity was new, small, relatively unimportant. They were the logical choice for an expendable sacrifice. Before the council could speak, Hana stood up. The movement was smooth and calm, drawing every eye to her. I volunteer, she said clearly. Jiwoo grabbed her arm. Hana, no. She pulled free gently but firmly. It's already decided, Jiwoo. Look at them. If I don't volunteer, they'll demand it anyway. At least this way, it's our choice. The human accepts, the High Council announced quickly, relief obvious in their voices. We are grateful for her noble sacrifice. Hana walked to the center of the chamber. She looked small compared to the massive aliens surrounding her, but she stood straight and tall. Where do you want me? There is a place, the Velcros elder said. An ancient arena on the dead world of Krell 7. It was built the last time the beast awoke, designed to contain it. We will transport you there and seal you inside with the creature. How long will I last? Hana asked. Her voice was steady, curious rather than afraid. Minutes, perhaps. The beast has never taken longer than that to kill its prey. Hana nodded slowly. I'll need my equipment. My weapons, my armor, my tools. They will not help you, a Mithran said gently. The beast is beyond such things. Then you won't mind if I bring them, Hana replied with a slight smile. Within hours, preparations were complete. Hana stood in the transport bay checking her gear one final time. Her armor was earth-made, less advanced than Confederation technology but built for human movement. Her weapons were simple: plasma cutters, explosive charges, a projectile rifle that most aliens considered laughably primitive. Jiwoo found her there. "There's still time to—" "No, there isn't," Hana interrupted. She wasn't smiling anymore. "Jiwoo, I need you to trust me." "Can you do that?" He stared at her. "What aren't you telling me?" Hana touched the back of her neck, where a small scar was barely visible. "Remember the Prometheus mission? The one that went wrong 3 years ago?" Jiwoo's eyes widened. "The Neural Enhancement Project. They banned it, said it was too dangerous, that it drove the test subjects insane." "It didn't drive me insane," Hana said quietly, "but it changed me. My brain processes information differently now, faster. I see patterns that others miss. I've been hiding it because I knew Earth Command would ground me if they found out. But now—" She looked toward the transport ship. "Now it might be useful. Hana, even with that enhancement, you can't fight this thing. It's killed billions." "I'm not going to fight it," Hana said. "Not the way they expect, anyway. Humans have survived everything Earth threw at us. Ice ages, predators, diseases, natural disasters. You know how we did it? Not by being stronger. By being smarter. By adapting." She picked up her rifle, checked the ammunition. "The Confederation thinks the beast is unbeatable because they've tried to outpower it. But power isn't everything. Sometimes the small, weak creature survives because it thinks differently." "You're talking about hunting it," Jiwoo realized. "I'm talking about not dying in the first 5 minutes," Hana corrected. "After that, we'll see." The transport bay doors opened. Hana walked toward her ship, then paused and looked back. "Jiwoo, when this is over, and I mean when, not if, humanity's position in the Confederation is going to change. Be ready." He watched her board the transport, watched it seal shut, watched it launch toward the dead world of Krell 7. Around him, other ships were also launching, the Confederation fleet, pulling back to a safe distance to observe and record her death. Deep in his pocket, Jiwoo's hand clenched into a fist. He whispered to himself, "They have no idea what they've just unleashed. They think they're sacrificing a soldier. They don't understand that humans are always most dangerous when we have nothing left to lose." The arena on Krell 7 was a massive structure built by a civilization that had died out thousands of years before. Its walls could contain the beast's energy. They would also trap Hana inside with it. The transport set down in the center of the arena, and Hana stepped out into the dusty air. The place was huge, big enough to hold 10 starships. The walls stretched up toward a dark sky. Old symbols covered the ancient stones, warnings in dead languages. Hana walked to the center and set down her equipment. She activated the neural implants at the base of her skull. The Prometheus protocol came online. Immediately, her perception shifted. Time seemed to slow down. She could process information faster than normal humans, see details she would have missed, calculate possibilities in fractions of seconds. It felt like being more awake than she had ever been. But she also felt the system burning through her neural pathways. The protocol was destroying her brain even as it enhanced it. She had days, maybe a week, before permanent damage set in. Good thing she didn't plan to need longer than that. The Confederation fleet took their positions in orbit. In the command ship, Jiwoo stood with other observers watching the arena through cameras and sensors. Around him, aliens made bets on how quickly the human would die. Then the space in the arena began to ripple. Reality tore open. The apex beast came through. It was even more terrible up close. Energy and matter swirled together in a form that hurt to look at. It had no face, but Hana felt its attention focus on her, this tiny creature alone waiting to be consumed. The beast roared. The sound shattered recording equipment across 3 star systems. In the center of the arena, Hana checked her rifle one final time. Then she looked up at the massive creature towering over her and did something that no being in the beast's entire ancient existence had ever done. She smiled. The apex beast attacked first, as it always had throughout its long existence. A tendril of pure energy lanced down toward Hana, moving faster than light should move. The attack was designed to unmake matter at its most basic level, to erase her from existence completely. The Confederation observers watching from orbit began preparing death notifications. They had seen this exact scenario in historical records 17 times. The ending was always the same. But when the tendril reached where Hana had been standing, she was gone. In the observation deck, Jiwoo leaned forward suddenly. The Velcro's commanders made confused sounds. The Mithrans pulsed with surprise. The sensors showed the human moving, but she was moving in ways that should not be possible for any biological creature. The Prometheus protocol had elevated Hana's brain function to extreme levels. To her enhanced perception, the beast's attack appeared to move in slow motion. She did not try to run away from the tendril. Instead, she calculated its trajectory in a fraction of a second and slid beneath it with less than an inch to spare. While she moved, she was already planning her next 3 steps. The beast paused. In 10,000 years of existence, nothing had ever dodged its first strike. Hana rolled to her feet and started running, but not away from the beast. She ran in a wide circle around it, studying it with enhanced vision that caught details the sensors had missed. She saw how its energy field pulsed, how its dimensional phases followed patterns, how it moved just slightly before each attack. "She's analyzing it," Taemin said from the science vessel. He was a human engineer who had joined the Confederation research teams, and he understood what his fellow human was doing. "She's not trying to survive. She's hunting it." Another tendril lashed out, then another. Hana dodged them both, sometimes by meters, sometimes by centimeters. She was reading the beast's attack patterns, learning its rhythm. Every movement she made was calculated. Every step served a purpose. The beast roared in frustration and attacked with 6 tendrils at once, trying to catch her from multiple angles. Hana dropped flat, rolled, jumped over one tendril while ducking under another. Her enhanced brain processed spatial information faster than the beast could adjust its attacks. On the observation deck, the betting stopped. Aliens who had predicted her death in seconds were now staring in disbelief. The human had survived 5 minutes, then 10, then an hour. "This is impossible," a Velcro's commander said. "How is she doing this?" Jiwoo allowed himself a small smile. "Humans spent millions of years as prey animals on Earth. We learned to dodge predators bigger, faster, and stronger than us. We learned to predict movement, to read patterns, to survive against impossible odds. It's in our DNA." Hana grabbed pieces of debris from the arena floor as she moved. Old metal structures, broken stones, anything she could use. She began placing them in specific positions around the arena, creating what looked like random piles of junk. But to her enhanced mind, each piece was positioned exactly where she needed it. The beast was not intelligent in the way thinking beings were intelligent. It was powerful and ancient, but it operated on instinct and pattern. It had never needed to adapt because nothing had ever forced it to. For 10,000 years, it had simply destroyed whatever it encountered. Now, for the first time, it faced something that refused to be destroyed. Hana used the arena itself as a weapon. The ancient structure had been built to contain the beast, which meant it had properties that could affect it. She led the beast on chases that forced it to destroy its own energy fields when they hit the walls. She created interference patterns using the metal debris, disrupting its dimensional phasing. Hours became a full day, then 2 days, then 3. The Confederation fleet stayed in orbit, unable to look away. Word spread through the galaxy. The impossible human who would not die became a story told in 1,000 languages. Ships arrived from distant systems just to observe. Hana did not stop moving. The Prometheus protocol allowed her to sleep in short bursts while still remaining aware of danger. She ate from her rations, drank recycled water, and continued her deadly dance with the beast. Every hour that passed, she learned more about it. Every attack gave her new data. The beast began to show something it had never shown before: frustration. Its attacks became more aggressive, less calculated. Hana used this against it. She started baiting it into wasting energy, making it overextend, forcing it to strain its dimensional connections. On day 5, Taemin made a discovery. He had been analyzing every second of Hana's movement, tracking every pattern she was creating. "She's not just surviving," he announced to the science team. "She's testing it. Each time she dodges, she's learning something new about its energy structure. She's mapping its dimensional frequencies. She's finding its weaknesses." Ambassador Jiwoo heard this report and immediately understood. He contacted the human delegation. "Prepare the science package. When Hana asks for it, we need to be ready." "When she asks?" a Confederation official questioned. "She has no communication equipment that can reach us through the arena's shielding." Jiwoo just smiled. "She'll find a way. She always does." On day 7, something unprecedented happened. The apex beast hesitated before attacking. For the first time in its existence, it had learned caution. This tiny creature that should have been food had become something else. Something that could hurt it? No, not yet, but something that could not be easily caught. The beast made a decision. It fully manifested into normal space, abandoning its dimensional phasing to bring its complete mass and power into the arena. It would crush this irritating creature with overwhelming force. Hana saw the change immediately. Her enhanced brain processed what it meant in seconds. The beast had just made its first tactical error. By fully entering their dimension, it was now bound by the same physical laws she was. It could no longer phase away from damage. It could no longer slip between realities to avoid harm. She had been waiting 7 days for this moment. Hana sprinted to one of her equipment caches and pulled out a device she had brought from Earth. To the Confederation, nuclear weapons were primitive, barbaric things that civilized species had abandoned thousands of years ago. Earth had developed them only 2 centuries before and still understood them intimately. She activated the nuclear device, but she did not detonate it. Instead, she set it to emit a massive energy signature, making it glow like a small star. The beast sensed this energy immediately. Throughout its existence, it had absorbed energy from every weapon fired at it. Energy made it stronger. This was its nature. Hana threw the device toward the beast's core and started running in the opposite direction. The beast, operating on pure instinct, absorbed the device just as it had absorbed countless weapons before. The nuclear energy flowed into its structure, making it surge with power. For a moment, the creature grew larger, more terrible. Then something went wrong. Inside the nuclear device, hidden in a shielded container, was something the beast had never encountered. Hana had loaded it with modified biological organisms, microscopic life forms that Earth scientists had engineered for extreme environments. These tiny creatures had been adapted to feed on exotic energy patterns, to survive in conditions that would destroy normal matter. The Confederation had abandoned biological sciences long ago, considering such approaches beneath them. But humanity had evolved on a planet where viruses and bacteria shaped all life. Humans understood biological warfare in ways that other species had forgotten. The organisms spread through the beast's energy matrix like wildfire through dry grass. They treated the beast's exotic matter as food, reproducing rapidly, creating chain reactions throughout its quantum structure. The beast had no defense against this. In 10,000 years, nothing had ever attacked it from the inside. The creature began to scream. The sound was different now, not a roar of power but a howl of pain. Its energy field started flickering, sections of its body destabilizing. It thrashed wildly, tearing at itself, trying to phase back into dimensional space but unable to do so with its structure compromised. In orbit, the Confederation fleet watched in stunned silence as the unkillable monster began to die. But Hana was not watching the beast. She had collapsed against the arena wall, her body convulsing. The Prometheus protocol had finally burned through too many neural pathways. Her brain was shutting down from the strain of 7 days operating at impossible levels. Blood ran from her nose. Her vision blurred. She had known this would happen. The protocol always had a price. She had gambled that she could kill the beast before it killed her. As darkness closed in, she heard the beast's final scream. She felt the arena shake as its massive body collapsed. Then she felt nothing at all. In the observation deck, Jiwoo was already moving. "Get me a transport now." "Sir, the arena is still sealed. Break the seal." "That's an order from Earth Command. Authorization code Jiwoo Alpha 7. He turned to face the Confederation officials. "My people retrieve our own dead or alive. And we do it ourselves." 2 human Marines, Daehyun and Mira, were already suited up and ready. They had been waiting at the edge of the exclusion zone for 7 days, refusing to leave. The moment the arena seals opened, they were through. They found Hana unconscious, her neural implants still sparking with electrical discharge. But she was breathing, barely. The medical bay was silent except for the steady beep of monitoring equipment. Hana lay unconscious in the center pod, surrounded by machines that even Confederation doctors did not fully understand. Her neural implants were still active, but barely. They flickered with damaged energy, burning out piece by piece. Dr. Yoon Seo stood over her patient, her face tight with worry. She was one of only 3 human doctors in the entire Confederation, and she had never seen damage like this. Around her, alien medical specialists worked with careful precision, but they kept looking to her for guidance. This was human biology, and only humans truly understood it. Her brain is rebuilding itself, a Mithran physician said, its crystalline body pulsing with confusion. This should not be possible. Neural pathways do not repair this quickly in any known species. Yun-Seo wiped sweat from her forehead. Humans have something called neuroplasticity. Our brains can rewire themselves when damaged. It is an evolutionary adaptation from our dangerous homeworld. But this, she gestured at the readings, this is beyond normal. The Prometheus protocol pushed her brain to impossible levels. Now her neurons are trying to compensate, creating new connections faster than the old ones die. Will she survive? The Mithran asked. I do not know. No one has ever pushed the protocol this far and lived. Outside the medical bay, chaos erupted through the Confederation. The death of the apex beast should have brought celebration, but instead it brought fear. If one human could kill what entire civilizations could not, what did that say about humanity's potential? What other capabilities were they hiding? The Velcro's military faction was the first to act. War Commander Threx called an emergency council session within hours of the beast's death. His scales were dark with agitation as he addressed the gathered species. We must address the human problem immediately, Threx declared. This Captain Hana used biological warfare, a technique banned by Confederation law for 6,000 years. She possessed illegal neural enhancements. She demonstrated military capabilities that were never reported during humanity's admission process. A hive queen clicked its mandibles. The human saved countless lives. She destroyed a threat that has haunted the galaxy for millennia. You speak of this as if it were a crime. It sets a dangerous precedent, a Hrathan delegate argued. Hrathans were a merchant species, and they saw everything in terms of profit and loss. If humans can develop such weapons in secret, what else are they hiding? Our trade agreements assume technological parity. This changes everything. In the human delegation area, Ambassador Jiwoo sat quietly, listening to every word. His face showed no emotion, but inside he was calculating rapidly. Beside him, Intelligence Officer Bora whispered urgent updates. 3 factions are forming, she said quietly. The Velcros want military restrictions on Earth. The Hrathans want to seize our technology patents. And there is a radical group called the Preservation Front that wants us expelled from the Confederation entirely. Let them talk, Jiwoo replied calmly. They are afraid. Fear makes people predictable. Engineer Taemin arrived, his tablet showing complex data. Ambassador, I have completed my analysis of the battle. What Captain Hana did? It was not just lucky improvisation. She was methodical, scientific. She collected data on the beast even while fighting for her life, and she recorded all of it in her neural implants before they started failing. Jiwoo looked up sharply. She recorded the beast's structure, its energy patterns, everything. Dimensional frequencies, energy conversion rates, quantum phase signatures. If we can extract that data before her implants completely burn out, we will have a complete technological profile of the most powerful entity the galaxy has ever faced. And that technology could be adapted, Jiwoo said slowly. For power generation, for FTL travel, for weapons. Yes, the beast was not just a monster. It was a doorway to science we have never imagined. Jiwoo stood and walked to the observation window. Below, he could see Earth's small fleet, just 12 ships against the thousands that filled this sector of space. Humanity was tiny in this vast confederation, but now they held something that every species would desperately want. Bora, he said quietly. How long before the other factions realize what we have? The smart ones already know, she replied. They are just deciding how to take it from us. In the medical bay, Hana's eyes suddenly opened. Dr. Yun-Seo rushed to her side, checking readings frantically. Captain, do not move. Your neural implants are critically damaged. Even small movements could cause permanent brain injury. Hana's voice was rough, barely a whisper. The data. Did they get the data? What data? From the beast. I recorded everything. Hana's hand moved weakly toward the back of her neck where the implants were embedded. Protected files need Jiwoo. Yun-Seo contacted the ambassador immediately. Within minutes, Jiwoo was at Hana's bedside with Taemin right behind him. The data is encrypted in my implants, Hana explained, each word taking effort, backed up in 3 locations that only humans control. Genetic locks. No other species can access it. You planned this, Jiwoo said. It was not a question. Hana managed a weak smile. Humans survived for millions of years because we always had a backup plan. I knew. If I killed the beast, the Confederation would turn on us. Fear of what we could do, so I made sure we had leverage. Some would call that blackmail, Jiwoo said, but there was approval in his voice. I call it insurance. Hana closed her eyes, exhausted from talking. The beast will return someday. 1,000 years from now, maybe more, or something else will come. Something worse. And when it does, they will need us, need human thinking. Human methods. Make sure they understand that. She slipped back into unconsciousness, leaving Jiwoo staring down at her with mixed emotions, pride, worry, and something like awe. She weaponized the beast's death, Taemin said quietly. Even while dying, she was thinking 3 steps ahead. That is what makes humans dangerous, Jiwoo replied. We plan for tomorrow even when we might not survive today. The next Confederation Council session was tense. Every species had heard rumors about the data Hana had collected. They wanted it. They needed it. The technology contained in the beast's structure could advance their civilizations by centuries. Jiwoo stood before the council with his small delegation behind him. He looked small and insignificant compared to the massive aliens surrounding him. But when he spoke, his voice carried absolute confidence. The apex beast is dead, he began. Captain Hana succeeded where your militaries failed, where your scientists said success was impossible. She did this at tremendous personal cost. She may never fully recover from the neural damage she sustained. We are grateful for her sacrifice, the High Council said. The Confederation owes humanity a debt. Yes, Jiwoo agreed. You do. And now we are going to discuss how that debt will be repaid. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The human was dictating terms? This was unprecedented. Captain Hana collected complete data on the beast during her battle. Jiwoo continued. Information that could revolutionize energy production, faster than light travel, defensive technology, and more. This data represents the most significant scientific breakthrough in Confederation history. That data belongs to the Confederation, War Commander Threx growled. It was collected during a Confederation mission. It was collected by a human using human technology, during a mission where humanity was offered as an expendable sacrifice, Jiwoo countered. The data belongs to Captain Hana, and by extension to Earth. You cannot withhold scientific knowledge that could benefit billions. We are not withholding it, Jiwoo interrupted smoothly. We are offering to share it, but we will do so as partners, not as subjects, not as expendable resources to be sacrificed when convenient. He activated a holographic display. Taemin's analysis filled the air, showing just a fraction of what Hana had learned. Even that small sample made several council members gasp. This is what we propose, Jiwoo said. Earth and all human colonies receive full Confederation protection. Not the limited defensive pact we have now, but complete military guarantee. Second, humanity receives a permanent seat on the High Council with full voting rights. Third, we establish joint research facilities where human methodologies are integrated with Confederation technology. And in exchange, a council member asked, we share everything Hana learned, free access to all data. We teach you our approach to problem solving, our tactical thinking, our biological sciences that you abandoned long ago. We become true partners in this Confederation. And if we refuse, Threx demanded. Bora stepped forward. Then humanity withdraws from the Confederation. We take our data, defend our own systems, and you face the next cosmic threat without us. The beast is dead now, but your own prophecies say another will come. When it does, you will need human thinking to survive it. The question is whether we face it together as allies, or whether you come begging for help after refusing partnership now. The chamber erupted in argument. Some species saw the logic in humanity's proposal. Others saw it as extortion. The debate raged for hours. Finally, an unexpected voice spoke. War Commander Threx rose to his full height, and the chamber fell silent out of respect for the old warrior. The vote took 3 full days. In all of Confederation history, no decision had ever taken so long or divided the member species so deeply. The question was simple, but the implications were massive. Would they accept humanity as true partners or try to contain them? In the medical bay, Hana drifted in and out of consciousness. When she was awake, Dr. Yunseo gave her updates on the political situation. Hana listened quietly, occasionally offering thoughts that Yunseo would relay to Ambassador Jiwoo. She says to remind them that humans are very good at holding grudges, Yunseo told the ambassador during one call. If they try to take the data by force, humanity will remember. And we have long memories. Jiwoo smiled slightly. That sounds like Hana. Tell her the vote is close. War Commander Threk supporting us made a difference. On the third day, the final vote was called. Every species cast their decision in the ancient way, with light and sound and thought speech creating a symphony of choice. When it was done, the High Council announced the results. By a vote of 73 to 27 with 15 abstentions, the Confederation accepts humanity's proposal. Earth and all human colonies will receive full protection. Humanity will be granted a permanent council seat. Joint research facilities will be established. Jiwoo felt tension he had been holding for days finally release. Around him, his small delegation erupted in quiet celebration. They had done it. Humanity had secured not just survival, but a real future among the stars. But before anyone could celebrate too much, the High Council continued speaking. However, the Council also requires that humanity demonstrate good faith by beginning data transfer immediately. We also require that the technology behind Captain Hana's neural enhancements be shared, so the Confederation can better understand what occurred. Jiwoo's expression hardened. The Prometheus Protocol is classified Earth military technology. It is also extremely dangerous. We banned it ourselves after it killed or permanently damaged everyone who used it except Captain Hana. Then how did she survive it? We do not know, Jiwoo admitted honestly. Perhaps her individual neural structure was uniquely compatible. Perhaps she simply had stronger will than the others. We have not allowed further testing because the risk is too high. The protocol is not something we want to spread. This created new debates, but eventually the Confederation agreed. They would receive the beast data but not the neural enhancement technology. It was a compromise that neither side loved but both could accept. The real work began immediately. Engineer Taemin led the first joint research team, bringing together human scientists and alien specialists. The differences in thinking were obvious from the start. The beast's energy conversion process violates 3 fundamental laws of physics, a Mithran scientist observed, its crystalline body pulsing with confusion. Then those laws are incomplete, Taemin replied simply. Reality does not care about our theories. We need to adjust our understanding to match what the beast could do, not reject the data because it seems impossible. This practical approach shocked many Confederation scientists. They had spent thousands of years building elegant theories about how the universe worked. Humans, with only centuries of serious scientific study, were comfortable throwing out theories that did not match reality. They are not concerned with being right, a Hive Queen researcher noted to its companions. They are concerned with what works. This is refreshing. In the medical bay, Hana slowly improved. Her neural implants had burned out completely, but her brain had compensated by rewiring itself in extraordinary ways. She would never be quite the same person she was before, but Dr. Yunseo was cautiously optimistic about her recovery. You are going to have to learn to walk again, Yunseo explained. Your motor control centers were damaged, but your brain is already creating new neural pathways. It is remarkable. How long? Hana asked. Months, maybe a year for full recovery. Too long. The Confederation needs to see me on my feet sooner than that. Hana, you cannot rush neural recovery. I am not asking for medical advice, doctor. I am explaining political reality. Hana pulled herself upright despite the pain. Right now, I'm a legend to some species and a threat to others. If I stay in this bed for a year, the fear will fade, but so will the legend. We need both to keep humanity safe. Yunseo sighed. You are the most stubborn patient I have ever had. That is why I am still alive. Within 2 weeks, Hana was taking her first shaky steps. Within a month, she was walking without assistance. Within 2 months, she insisted on attending a council session. When she entered the grand chamber, the entire assembly fell silent. She wore her military uniform, though she now walked with a slight limp and occasionally paused to steady herself. But she walked alone, refusing the support chair that had been offered. Every eye followed her progress to the human delegation area. When she sat down next to Ambassador Jiwoo, the silence continued for several more seconds. I told you she would not stay down, Jiwoo whispered to Bora. The session proceeded, But it was different now. Proposals that might have been pushed through over human objections were suddenly withdrawn. Agreements that favored other species at humanity's expense were quietly revised. No one said it aloud, but everyone understood. The human who killed the beast was watching. After the session, several species approached Hana directly. War Commander Threx was first. Captain Hana, the massive Velcro, said formally, "I wish to offer you a position in the Confederation military as a tactical advisor. Your approach to combat is unlike anything we have studied." "I appreciate the offer, Commander, but I have other plans," Hana replied. "May I ask what plans?" "The beast had siblings out there in the dimensional void," Hana said calmly. "At least the data suggests there are similar entities. Someone should be hunting them before they become problems. I plan to do that." Threx's scales rippled with what might have been approval or concern. "You would hunt cosmic entities as a career?" "Someone has to. Humans have always been good at killing things that need killing." Word of this conversation spread quickly. Within days, the Confederation formally proposed creating a new division, the Joint Adaptive Response Division. Its purpose would be to identify and neutralize cosmic-level threats before they could endanger civilized space. Hana would lead it. The division would have personnel from every willing member species, but its core approach would be based on human tactical thinking. Fast adaptation, practical solutions, willingness to use any method that worked regardless of how primitive it seemed. "You are building an army," a nervous council member observed. "No," Hana corrected. "I am building a hunting party." There is a difference. Armies conquer territory. Hunters eliminate specific threats. The first recruits arrived within weeks. To everyone's surprise, some of the best volunteers came from species that had initially opposed humanity's elevation. A group of young Velcros warriors applied because they wanted to learn Hana's fighting style. Mithran scientists joined because they were fascinated by human adaptive thinking. Even a Hive Queen combat coordinator volunteered, bringing specialized tactical knowledge that impressed even Hana. "They are not joining because they like humans," Bo-Ra observed. "They are joining because they recognize effective methods." "That is fine," Jiwoo replied. "Respect comes before friendship. We can build both over time." The division's first mission came sooner than expected. Dimensional sensors detected something moving through the void near the Terath system. It was not as large as the apex beast had been, but it showed similar energy signatures. A distant cousin, perhaps, or a younger member of the same species. Hana took her new crew and went to investigate. Her ship, the Prometheus, was crewed by humans and aliens working together for the first time. There were tense moments as different species learned to cooperate, but Hana ran drills constantly, building teamwork through practice. They found the entity near a dying star, feeding on the stellar energy. It was massive but still growing, maybe centuries away from being as dangerous as the apex beast had been. Hana studied it for days before making her decision. "We kill it now while it is young," she told her crew. "It has not threatened anyone," a Mithran officer objected. "Should we not wait to see if it becomes hostile?" "The apex beast destroyed 17 civilizations," Hana replied. "How many of those civilizations probably said, 'Let us wait and see,' when it first appeared? We are not going to make that mistake." The battle was difficult but ultimately successful. Hana used the same biological warfare approach that had worked before, adapted for this entity's slightly different structure. When it died, she collected complete data just as she had with the apex beast. "Two down," she said as the Prometheus jumped back to Confederation space. However many more to go. Back at the Confederation's central systems, the success made headlines. The Joint Adaptive Response Division had proven its value immediately. More species volunteered to join. More funding was allocated. Humanity's position in the Confederation was now secure. In a quiet moment, Jiwoo met with Hana on the observation deck of the human embassy station. They looked out at the vast fleet that now included Earth's growing navy alongside ships from dozens of other worlds. "We did it," Jiwoo said. "Humanity is safe. We have allies, protection, a real place in galactic civilization." 6 months after the death of the apex beast, the galaxy looked different, not in physical appearance but in how its civilizations understood themselves and each other. The impossible had happened, and nothing would ever be quite the same. The Joint Adaptive Response Division had grown from Hana's initial crew to a force of 300 personnel spread across 12 ships. They patrolled the dimensional boundaries, hunting threats before those threats could grow into existential dangers. In 6 months, they had eliminated 4 cosmic entities, prevented 2-dimensional breaches, and saved an estimated 9 billion lives. But numbers could not capture the real change. The real change was in how species thought. In a Confederation research facility orbiting a blue giant star, engineer Tae Min worked with a team of 50 scientists from 20 different species. They were reverse engineering the apex beast's energy conversion technology, trying to adapt it for peaceful use. The problem is efficiency, a Hrothan physicist explained, his tentacles manipulating holographic equations. The beast converted matter to energy at 98% efficiency. Our best reactors achieve 15%. The gap is too large. Then we are thinking about it wrong, Tae Min replied. He cleared the hologram and started over from basic principles. The beast did not use artificial conversion. It used biological processes. Maybe we should not be building better reactors. Maybe we should be growing them. The alien scientists stared at him. Growing reactors? The concept was bizarre. But as they explored it further, they realized the human was right. The beast's power had not come from engineered systems, but from evolved biological functions. If they could replicate those functions, this will take decades of research, the Hrothan said. Good thing we started 6 months ago then, Tae Min replied with a smile. This was the new pattern. Human scientists asked uncomfortable questions that challenged established thinking. They were not always right, but they made everyone think differently, and that difference was valuable. In the military sphere, War Commander Threx had integrated human tactical approaches into Velcro's battle doctrine. His warriors now trained in adaptation and improvisation, rather than just following established patterns. Other species watched and began copying these methods. The humans have infected us, a Mithran philosopher observed during a council session, but it said this with approval rather than concern. They have made us question assumptions we have held for thousands of years. This is uncomfortable but necessary. Ambassador Jiwoo had officially taken humanity's permanent council seat. He sat among the leaders of civilizations millions of years older than Earth, and he did so as an equal. Other species had learned to listen when humans spoke, because humans had proven they could solve problems everyone else considered unsolvable. But success brought new challenges. In a secure briefing room on the human embassy station, Intelligence Officer Bo-Ra presented her latest findings to Jiwoo and his core team. 3 situations require immediate attention, she began, displaying data across multiple screens. First, the Preservation Front has not disbanded. They are a radical political group that believes the Confederation was better before humans joined. They have been quiet since our council seat was approved, but my sources indicate they are planning something. What kind of something? Jiwoo asked, unknown. But they have been gathering resources and recruiting members from species that opposed our elevation. I recommend we increase security around human installations. Noted. What is second? The beast's remains are not inert, Bo-Ra continued. Initial analysis suggested the biological organisms we used killed it completely, but recent scans show residual activity at the quantum level. It might be regenerating. The room went silent. Hana, who had been listening quietly from her chair, leaned forward. How long until it could reconstitute? Unknown. Could be centuries. Could be decades. The science teams are monitoring it, but they admit they do not fully understand the beast's biology. We should destroy the remains completely, Lieutenant Dae-hyun suggested. Vaporize them. Make sure nothing can regenerate. The science teams oppose this, Bo-Ra said. They say the remains are too valuable for research. And they might be right. We are learning enormous amounts from studying the corpse. We cannot risk it coming back, Hana said firmly. I will talk to the research teams. We will find a compromise that keeps everyone safe while allowing continued study. And the third situation? Jiwoo asked. Bo-Ra's expression became troubled. We are detecting quantum disturbances in the Helios expanse. The pattern is similar to what occurred before the apex beast emerged. Something is coming. Something big. Jiwoo stood and walked to the window. Outside, human ships moved in formation with alien vessels, a sight that would have been unimaginable 2 years ago. But would it be enough? When? He asked quietly. Could be months. Could be years. The readings are not precise. Then we have time to prepare. Jiwoo turned to face his team. Hana, I want the response division at full readiness. Double the patrols in the Helios expanse. If something is coming, we find it first. Bora, investigate the preservation front thoroughly. If they cause problems while we are dealing with a cosmic threat, it could be catastrophic. Daehyun, coordinate with Confederation military. Make sure everyone understands this is not just a human problem. The team dispersed to their tasks, leaving Jiwoo alone with his thoughts. They had bought humanity a place in the galaxy through Hana's sacrifice and clever negotiation. But that place was not guaranteed forever. They would have to keep earning it. Weeks passed. The preservation front made its move sooner than expected. A group of their operatives attempted to sabotage the research facility where Taimin was working, trying to destroy the beast data before it could be fully shared with all Confederation members. They failed. Human security personnel, trained in Earth's long history of dealing with terrorism and sabotage, had identified the infiltrators days before they could act. The operatives were captured without bloodshed, and their organization was exposed. The incident could have caused a political crisis. Instead, Jiwoo used it as a teaching moment. He insisted the captured operatives be treated well and given fair trials. He publicly stated that while their methods were wrong, their concerns about rapid change were understandable. The galaxy is changing fast, he told the council. That is frightening for everyone, including humans. We should respond to fear with patience, not punishment. Show these people that the new Confederation is better than the old one, and they will become supporters rather than enemies. This approach surprised many species who would have simply executed the saboteurs, but over time it proved effective. Some Preservation Front members actually did change their views after seeing how humanity handled the situation. The organization lost support and eventually dissolved. You turned your enemies into allies without firing a shot, War Commander Threx observed. This is also a kind of strength. Meanwhile, Hana took the Prometheus deep into the Helios expanse. Her crew included some of the best personnel the Confederation could provide, all trained in human adaptive tactics. They spent weeks searching for the quantum disturbance Bora had detected. They found it in a region of space where stars were being born. Massive clouds of gas and dust churned with creative and destructive energy, and in the center of this chaos, something waited. It was not like the apex beast. This entity was smaller, more focused, almost elegant in how it moved through space. It did not destroy everything it touched. Instead, it seemed to be studying the newborn stars, learning from them. It might be intelligent, the Mithrin science officer suggested. Actually intelligent, not just instinct-driven like the beast was. Hana watched the entity carefully. Her rebuilt neural pathway, still not fully healed, were good enough to process tactical information. But she did not see a threat here. She saw something else. Open a communication channel, she ordered. All frequencies. Let's see if it responds. Her crew exchanged uncertain looks, but they obeyed. The Prometheus broadcast a simple mathematical sequence, a basic greeting used in first contact situations. For long minutes, there was no response. Then the entity turned toward them. It did not attack. Instead, it responded with its own mathematical sequence, more complex than what they had sent. It was answering. We have first contact, Hana said quietly, with something from beyond our dimension. Record everything. The conversation that followed was slow and difficult. The entity's method of thinking was completely alien. But gradually patterns emerged. It was curious about this dimension, about the life forms that existed here. It had been sleeping in the dimensional void for ages and had only recently awakened. Are there others like you? Hana asked through the mathematical language they had developed. The entity's response was complicated, but the meaning was clear. Yes. Many others. Some dangerous, some peaceful, some simply indifferent to material existence. The apex beast, did you know it? Another complex response. The beast had been young and angry, the entity explained. It had not learned control. It had destroyed because destruction was easy, not because destruction was necessary. Can you help us understand these entities? Hana asked. Can you teach us how to deal with them without killing?